Hey, shalom, shalom, all praises, honor, glory go to Yahweh, Bahashem, Shai, Bahashem, Chach, Wadash. Double honors to the apostle, elder bishop, the great millstone, who rule well. Peace and blessings, to you fellow brothers, pushing out this word in truth and sincerity. We are not coming back with another lesson to the power of Yahweh, Shai, Bahashem, Wadash, shalom, shalom, the elect. And this is going to be a walk the talk lesson. I'm trying to be able to get around to this. It's not too long. Sun's about to set maybe the next hour. So I was going to see if I can try to get this done while this before the sunset and it's still light out. Now with this lesson, I just want to touch on two things of information as concerning the American economy and the trajectory in which is going, what's the future of the American economy as far as the monetary system, the financial system, and how is that going to apply and how does that fit into biblical prophecy? Why does that matter? Now we know in Revelation, the 13th chapter, you start at the 16th verse, that this beast, there will be a beast that will rise up, right? Which we know that beast to be, NATO, or you could say the Roman Empire coming back, which is really the beast is the EU. But you have the harlot that sat, the woman that sat upon the beast, which is America. So you have these two entities that are coming together, which makes up the revival of the Roman Empire. And with this revival of the Roman Empire, they're coming with a new way of buying and selling. And we're starting to see this old system of buying and selling, which where America was the dominant force, they were the world reserve currency. We're starting to see that they're being, what's the word? It just escaped me. They're being challenged. There's a new system also being set up as we speak. And we're starting to see kinks in the American financial system. Okay, inflation, soon to be hyperinflation. Okay, people moving away from the dollar. Okay, and what I have here in this article, Lord's going to put it in the description box or in the comment section. It's going into de-dollarization. Okay, de-dollarization. And what does that mean? Now, the average individual here in America, they don't know, they have no clue. They just know that this amount of money pays for these amount of goods. That's as deep as their knowledge goes as far as, the financial system, which that's all by design. Here it is, you go to school for 12 years, kindergarten through 12th grade, and your average American student doesn't know how money works. And again, that's all by design. They don't want you to know how the financial system works. Because if you knew how the financial system works, the monetary system works, there would be riots in the street. And there's a quote from somebody, I forget, the American people knew about the system, how overnight it would be almost like a revolution. Okay, so they have to keep you in the dark and keep you stuffed with all these dainty foods and this cheap ass entertainment. Now, this is from the EBC.com, which is EBC is a financial group. And it says, what countries dropped the US dollar? Full list and reasons. Now, what does that mean? Because the average, well, they just dropped the dollar. I don't know what that means. Well, in this article, it's kind of going to the reasons why these nations are dropping the US dollar. But what does that mean to us spiritually? Okay, we understand that everything is being moved over to a new system. The Motb system, the mark of the beast. Okay, which is a digital system. So really, this is all by design. Before I go ahead and go into this article, and then I have another article, or we could just kind of read the headlines. It's not. I'm pretty sure you probably heard about it. Maybe not. Let me go to 2 Corinthians first, because See why the people of the earth are being deceived, because the scriptures speak about how this beast will go out through the earth to deceive the nations again. Okay, while the people are being deceived and being cornered into this financial trap, okay, we are expounding upon or breaking down the prophecy of this system actually being applied and implemented in real time. So let me read this, 2 Corinthians 2:11. Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And when Satan comes down, the devil, okay, Esau is the devil. He's a physical counterpart of the spiritual being Satan. Okay, when he comes down, part of his sword is going to be to control you monetarily or financially through a new system that he's really been openly telling you this is the future. But he's been gradually moving over, all right, to these technologies. And we had, the coronavirus, right, the scandemic, that was an acceleration toward that agenda, towards a cashless society. And we all seen it. I mean, depending on what state you were in, there was some level of transition to this digital cashless society, where even now you have certain businesses and restaurants that don't deal with any cash. Okay, it's all under the guise of safety and protection from diseases, as well as convenience. But this is all by design. Okay, and the de-dollarization is part of that, where these nations are dropping the dollar, and you're starting to see them set up a new system in which they're going to trade amongst each other. But that's all to collapse the whole system, to bring in the new system where everything is going to be digital. And it's going to be so satisfying when that system is rolled in and implemented, which we're going to be like, hey, we told you. We don't want to say we told you so, but because it's really the Lord that told you so. But that's just going to be that moment. And you're going to still have people that's going to be, they're going to have unbelief even when the digital system arises. So let me just read a couple, a little bit from this article. Because I think I was reading some stuff about, because I know a new nation just dropped $1 somewhere in Africa, meaning they're not using the dollar for any transactions. It's not legal tender. The American dollar was a very strong currency. Now that currency is waning over time, and you're starting to see the inflation set in, which the people of the United States don't understand money. They don't understand why the same money that they had, the $10, $20, $100, doesn't buy the amount of goods that it used to buy, because the power of the American dollar has diminished. So it says, as of May 2025, so this is this month, okay, many countries have taken steps to reduce or eliminate the reliance on the US dollar in international trade and finance, because that's really been the reason why America has been the head nation, or holds the hegemony, is because they have the power to sway over transactions all around the world. Okay, you will have to trade within US dollars, which propped up the American dollar and diminished those other currencies. Okay, but now nations are starting to move away from that system. All right, and they're all doing it through what? Technology. Okay, technology is the new wave. That's the new answer. That's the new savior in this world. Okay, to break free from the oppressor. But see, they're just being coerced and hoarded into, emancipated into the wicked elite, or even a deeper level of control. Okay, where everything is on the grid, all transactions are followed, are tracked, are traced, and are programmed to buy certain goods in certain areas. It's going to be real bad. Okay. It says this global shift known as de-dollarization is driven by various economic, political, and strategic factors. This movement is reshaping international trade, finance, and geopolitical alliances. In this comprehensive analysis, we delve into what countries drop the US dollar, their motivations, and the broader implications for a global economy. And you're going to see more of a collapse in your standard of living, particularly in Babylon the Great in these Western society, or they call it the collective West, which is basically America, NATO, and the EU. These Edomite nations. You're going to see, which we're already seeing. There's so many videos of individuals complaining, okay, about their financial situation. Okay, especially the new generation, on how hard it is to find a job, even though they were bought, or they were deceived into getting an education that put them in $50,000, $60,000, and $100,000 in debt, and there's no jobs to fill those gaps. Okay, apartment is pretty much 80% of your the money that you bring in monthly. Okay, how can you survive? Not to mention, food is super expensive. That has at least in certain cases doubled the amount of groceries prior to 2020 to now. If you spend $200 at the grocery store, you're getting at least half, if not 60% less goods. So that means that same money does not have the power, does not have the strength, okay, to buy goods. It has diminished, okay, and this is all a scheme by the wicked one, okay, to bring this whole world, okay, because this lesson is going directly tying into the Motb. And let me get Revelation 13, and we'll just kind of go back and forth there. Because if your eyes are open, if the Most High opened your eyes, you can clearly see that this is where everything is being moved. And to the untrained, the unlearned, the non-initiated, to understand these spiritual things. Because see, where people can see certain things carnally, physically, but they don't understand what they mean spiritually. We understand that this is moving towards this particular time, the hour of temptation. Okay, this is Revelation 13, and it's so much in this chapter, right? Let me just go. I'm just going to go to the point. And he calls of all, number 13:16, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. What is this mark talking about? All right, and there's so much controversy over this, this precept, revelation in general, but especially the mark of the beast, because the rulers of this society, they want to suppress this information, and they're going to go to the fullest extent that they have to destroy people on the earth not to bring out this information, because this goes against their plan. All right, the Most High is against this plan. See, you have certain, truthers, if you will, that will bring out the facts. Some of them will even talk about the mark of the beast system and try to go into the scriptures and try to break it down. Okay, but they never emphasize, or they don't even know that the people that setting these policies that rule this world are the Edomites, and how ultimately that this system is going to be destroyed, for lack of better words, just to go simple words to understand. Yeah, he has been given power to apply this system, but this would be his downfall. One second, let me get a scripture. Let me get Job the 20th chapter. Okay. Let me get Job 20. All right. Or is that yeah, this is it. Job 20 and 23. When he is about to fill his belly, because because the infrastructure of the system is already there. We see at this pass the infrastructure of the system is already there. You have the what was that, tap to pay. All right, so many years back they have the what's it called, the chip. They put the chip inside the credit cards, right? So that was gradually moving everybody to that RFID NFC technology. Now there's actually videos, and they're getting more. There's more. I guess you could say popularity or more visibility on individuals putting, or what they call biohacking, and putting RFID NFC technology inside their body. And then what do we have now? We have actual companies, okay, that are putting brain chips inside people's, that are putting chips inside people's brains, giving them abilities that they lost or did not, or did not have, right? Like the ability to speak, the ability to walk, the ability to see, which they're all pseudo miracles. Nevertheless, in a sight of these people, these are miracles, and it's all being done by technology. So this is another coercive tactic by the devil to deceive you. It's nothing but magic. Mind you, magic is nothing but sleight of hand. Okay. It says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So as he starts to, really when he fully applies this system, he's going to do this under the auspices of war, under the he's going to do this under the disguise of war, under the disguise of certain diseases, pandemics. He's going to do this under the disguise of famine, and more people are going to be more willing. The average person is going to be more willing to give up more of their rights, give up more of their privacy, allow the government to track and trace them under the disguise of peace and safety. Okay, because it's going to be all out hell. Okay, and we've been sounding the alarm or blowing the trumpet to push out the word of Yahweh Shema Shai, like it tells you in Malachi. Let me get that actually. Malachi, the 4th chapter, right? This is Malachi 4 and 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming and the great and dreadful day of the Lord. See? And we believe through faith that that man was Abba Bivens, which most of us did not meet him. But we believe, because this is what the prophecy said what would happen. And it fits. It fits exactly what the Lord said was happening. And now we have, now that we have, this great awakening, we can tie that all the way back to the start of the reawakening of the Hebrew Israelites. But it was all to do what? To inspire and wake up the Israelites, the elect of the nation of Israelites, okay, or the nation of Israel, before the great and terrible day of the Lord. Because when this man comes down and he implements this system, he's going to do it by the force of the sword. He's going to do it by digital control. You're going to have no comforter in that time. You're going to have no hope in that time. So, and if you take the Motb, it goes into Revelation the 14th chapter, how you're going to be destroyed. Okay? So the article that I was just reading, we'll go back to that. We won't read all of it, we'll read a little bit more. It's going into how this system is manifesting before our eyes. They have to take down this old, archaic, ancient system, okay, of paper money. And people say, how is that possible? Well, prior to paper money, dummies, okay, what was money? It was gold and silver. Okay, it was gold, silver, land, okay, precious stone, okay, sheep, herds, it was food. That's what was money. But as far as just pure currency was what? It was gold and silver. That's been since the beginning of time. And they took everybody off of gold and silver. People, and there's been a video where this individual is going around people here in America, offering them a gold eagle, which is a gold coin, or I think like $10 or $20. And pretty much everybody picked the gold, not the gold, they picked the $20 because they looked at the $20 being more valuable than gold. Now this video was a while back, so gold could have been $1,000 or $1,500. Say it was $1,000. Well, gold, if I'm not mistaken, is around $3,000 now, or if not close to it or above it. You know, I haven't checked it in a minute, but I know that it hit all-time record highs, $3,000 for an ounce of gold. That was the actual system of currency at the beginning of time, but over the last 100 years, you know, that has changed. So we're coming into a new change, and the new change is the digital change. But in order to bring in this abrupt currency, this new currency, all right, what do they have to do? They have to crash the old. And this is what we're actually seeing it right now. Okay. It says, and he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. And the Lord is coming to smite the earth with a curse. Yet, as promised, he's going to make sure that he saves his remnant, his elect. So you need to know about these things. These things should be in the front of your mind. You should be actively watching and having your mind on these things. You know, most people, what do? They're decompress. Oh, I gotta decompress. So you get on fucking social media. You spend fucking hours and hours on social media doing bullshit. Okay? Which, hey, it's gonna take a lot of people by surprise, but the word is going out. And it's another dollar on the MO. It's another video on the MOTV. De-Dollarization. Who cares? Y'all been talking about that for years. All right, well, take that same sentiment in the time of Jacob's trouble. See, all bets are off during that time. During that time, there is going to be no time to teach. Okay, there's going to be no time to sit down and study. Okay, and no time to go over with individuals. Oh, this is the MOTV. Don't take it. Okay, you see de-dollarization. No, we already going to be there. You're already going to be in a digital society. When they crash this bitch, when they shut off the lights, when they shut off the power grid, when they turn off the internet for a particular time, it could be several days, it could be a month, where shit is just all fucked up. Okay? When they start sending motherfuckers to war, all right, when there's these crazy diseases running around, actually jumping on people and killing them, where these people just be turned against each other. Well, that's what the scriptures say. Okay, at that time shall friends fight against each other like enemies. Okay, there should be sedition among men, like at the 15. Okay, suddenly shall the full storehouses appear empty, and the sown places appear unsown. Okay, so this is a very important, because we're actually seeing prophecy play out. Okay, let me go back to, what was I finished there? Yeah, let me go back to this article, then I'll jump back to Revelation 13. Okay. Understanding de-dollarization. De-dollarization refers to the process by which countries reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar for international transactions, reserves, and trade settlements. Yeah, because America, the dollar is king. And how was the dollar being sure that use that dollar, use that dollars? Well, through the military. But the military is being spread thin. Okay, they can't police the whole world. All right, like they did. And the other nations now have the same technology, and sometimes more advanced technology. Okay, and you have particular stronger nations, powers that have nuclear capability. So you just can't come into a nuclear country. Like, America just can't bully a nuclear country like they used to. A non-nuclear country. You know, America could bully Iraq. But it was was it called, Robert, that Saddam, he wanted to get nuclear weapons. And they can't have that. They can't have too many nations with nuclear weapons, especially nations that hate America. All right, because you can't control that nation, okay, like you were able to control them. So America controlled them through the financial means, through their monetary system, right? And embargoes and what's it called? Sanctions. Because the majority of the world, they were on the American dollar SWIFT system. So if you weren't on that system, you were pretty much phased out. You weren't able to prosper in this global connected society. But now the nations are linking up with each other. There's new systems that have been created while America was living so deliciously. And now, boom, now the American people are starting, that's the first thing that's going to suffer are the people at the bottom. This shift is often motivated by a desire to achieve greater economic sovereignty, mitigate exposure to monetary policies, and circumvent political sanctions. See, if America don't like what you're doing, okay, they'll just sanction your ass. Okay, they'll just sanction you and cut your ass out of the system. Now, fast. So sanction you out of the system. Having people revolt. They'll actually help fund the revolt because the people are suffering. They want to overthrow the government. They want to overthrow the leader. Usually the leaders are always going to be living good. Okay, they're going to be living better than the average person. So then the overthrow happens, and then they're able to set up a puppet, put a puppet in there, and then control that nation's natural resource. They literally just did that with Syria. Okay, they took the sanctions off Syria. Okay, they took the sanctions off Syria. All right, and then American interest is able to go into that land. And they've been trying to take down Bashar al-Assad for a long time. They finally got what they wanted. Okay, economic motivations behind de-dollarization. Okay, economic sanctions and political pressure. Okay, give me a second. Right, countries like Russia and Iran have faced extensive U.S. sanctions, and Russia is the most sanctioned planet. The most sanctioned country on the planet, and they're doing just great. Okay, we just showed you that there's a kink. Okay, there's a kink in the American hegemony. Okay, and they're not as strong as they used to, because if America hit you with sanctions, you were pretty much cut out from world trade. Okay, but it's not working. So what does America now have to do? They have to go to war. But they have to be very careful. They have to be very careful how they move now, because these other nations Russia has a stronger military than America. Okay, and the men in that military are more willing to fight. Okay, they're not afraid like the American military is. Okay, it says, prompting them to seek alternatives to the dollar to safeguard their economies by conducting trade in local currencies or other major currencies. They aim to reduce the impact of such sanctions. But yeah, because your economy can be completely crippled by sanctions. Okay. Diversity of foreign exchange reserves. Central banks are diversifying their reserves to include a mix of currencies such as the euro, Chinese yuan, and gold to mitigate risks associated with holding large amounts of U.S. dollars. At one point, it was just you had to use U.S. dollars. That was the system set up after World War II with the Bretton Woods Council. I forget exactly the Bretton Woods. Bretton Woods agreement. Okay, everything's going to be traded through the U.S. dollar. The U.S. is the leader now. The U.S. holds dominance over all these nations now. But they did it through, their military, but they got rich through the financial system that they set up. Because now they can control any nation through their monetary policies. If they don't like you, they can just shut you out of the system. And see, this is the again, this is the system that's being duplicated and made better. Right? It's being perfected, okay, digitally. But now it's not America's going to be. America's not going to be the head. There's going to be one head. It's the one world government. And the wicked elite, they're going to control all nations. And if a nation don't want to step to or skip to their beat or dance to their beat, they'll cut them off. They'll turn them off. But see, this is a wicked system that's being set up. All right, and they're trying to be like the Most High. They're trying to be like the true Israelites, because when the true Israelites are set up in power, okay. Let me see if I can find that scripture. Right, it talks about if they don't come up to the feast. Is it the Feast of Tabernacles? Give me a second. Yeah, Isaiah 60. Let me get that. Isaiah 60. Bear with me. See, they're setting it up wickedly. Okay, but in the kingdom, in what righteousness is going to be the laws. Okay, it's going to be the trend. Okay, it's going to be the standard. All right, if a nation doesn't come up, well, I'm gonna just read it. They don't follow the Israelites, then there's going to be consequences. So that's basically the same thing Esau trying to set up, but it's through a wicked rulership that he's trying to set up. Isaiah 60:12. Well, let me read 11. It says, therefore, thy gates shall be open continually. This is what the wicked elite want. Okay? They want all the resources hoarded to themselves, but they're doing it through evil means. Okay? Demonic means. They're doing it through witchcraft. They're trying to deceive everybody because they can't do it because, they're such just a great nation and everybody loves them. No, they're doing it through deceptive tactics. Okay? Therefore, thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. Yeah, their resources, including human resources, slaves, meaning the economy of the Israelites is going to be flowing continually. The other nations are going to bring their forces, their resources, in, whether it's spices, whether it's different types of wood, okay, different types of incense, okay, different types of cattle or poultry, okay, different human resources, different servants, okay, different material, whether it's gold, whether it's silver. Okay, that's all going to be handed over to the true individuals, okay, the true Israelites, not the phony, not the fake. Okay, and they're setting up a system, okay, to basically try to duplicate that. Okay. It says, they shall not be shut day or night, that men may bring in unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. See? Their king, who's the king? The leaders. So all these leaders that rule this earth in wickedness, they're going to be brought to come and worship before us. Okay, starting with Yahweh Shai. Okay, it says, for the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Right? And see, we're going to have full dominance over the earth under Yahweh Shai, the government. Okay? And it's going to be a righteous government. And if they don't do righteously, they're going to be judged for that. Now, Esau, he's setting up a completely demonic system. He's trying to say, hey, look, if you don't follow my demonic ways, I'm just going to cut your fucking chip off. Okay, and he's not just, hey, I'm bringing this to you so you can put it inside your body. So, it's gonna help you. It's gonna be fun. Nah, he's gradually pushing toward that system. In the old system that he's already set up, he's imploding the system. Okay. let me go back to this article. Let me read a little bit more here. It's a little bit. Okay. And then just touch on this other article. Right? So number 3, the bullet point number 3, development of alternative payment system. See? So let me just read it. To decrease dependency on U.S. controlled financial systems like SWIFT, nations are creating their own payment infrastructures. For example, Russia has launched the System for Transfer of Financial Messages, SPFS, while China has developed the Cross-Border Interbank Payment System, CIPS. So they're setting a rivalry against the SWIFT system. So that's how the nations, they were pretty much blocked off. To trade internationally, you got to go through the SWIFT system. Okay? In America, they controlled that. Really, it's the bankers. Okay, but now they're crashing that system to bring in a better system. Because all fiat currencies, eventually they zero out. They become useless because it's not real money. It's not real currency. A real currency is not. It never becomes useless. Like gold. Gold has always kept value throughout the millennia. Okay. Gold has kept its value. Always keeps its value. And what do? They keep all the gold to themselves. They give you paper money. You got people fighting over it. So it is a currency. It does value things. Now that currency, we're at the latter stage of it. Being latter stage of that currency going to zeroing out, and this is why you're seeing emerging currencies like, and it's going to go into the article, like Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin hit over 100,000. Now I remember Max Kaiser talking about this years back. In Bitcoin's infancy, okay, how Bitcoin is going to hit 100,000 a coin. Now I remember when Bitcoin was 5,000. That's when it was, kind of getting a little popular. It went back down like 5,000, and it's been hitting all-time highs. But the American dollar has actually been losing in value. Okay, gold is going up all-time highs. Silver is going. All these other currencies are going up. Why? Because the value of the dollar, American dollar, is waning. Okay. So you have an emergence of alternate payment systems. So they don't have to use the SWIFT system no more. This is how they're able to circumvent, tariffs, and trade with each other, okay? It says, this is a point, right? This is really what I wanted. Emergence of digital currency, see? So here it is. Everybody wants to get away from America. They want to so-called return to their old system. But why do all these nations have digital currency? Why do they all have, central bank digital currency? What they might call it, central bank digital currency, or whatever they may call it, but it's a digital currency nevertheless. Why do they all have that? Why does Iran have a digital currency? Why does China have a digital currency? Why does Russia have a digital currency? Why do all these nations have digital currency? Because meanwhile, in the background, they're all testing out, this system, this digital currency system, which the whole world is going to be introduced to. This is why nations are de-dollarizing. Okay, and what is that going to mean? Oh, shit. You all right, bro? You good? You all right? No problem, no problem. Appreciate it. No problem, bro. No problem, you too. Okay. Yeah, right when he appeared to be an Edomite. Right when I walked past him, he just took a fucking hard fall on his bike. Fucked this shit up. Where was I at? Them spirits, man. Them spirits is active. Okay. Emergence of digital currency. The point was all these nations. You can go on is it cbdc.org, and it's a cbdctracker.org. One of those. You can just type that in. It'll get you to that information, and it's pretty much you can say I guess you call it a directory or a tracker of all these nations that whether they finish their CBDC, what do they call it? Trial. I call it a trial. They use a different word, okay? Or they're in the midst of doing it, or they're about to do it. Basically, they're running trials as we speak. Even with the universal basic income, it's not on the news every day, but all these, and I did a video on it. It's one of my channels. Okay, in all these states and even in different countries, they're actually giving people money. They'll give $1,000 or $1,200 a month, low-income individuals, just to run that system. See, to work out the kinks, but that's going to be the norm, okay, for the whole entire earth, basically. All right, and it's going to be done through what? Digital means. Okay, all these banks are going to fail. Okay, hey man, look, it's coming. Okay, the rise of central bank digital currencies, yes, CBDCs, offer countries a new avenue. Who the fuck gave them this avenue? Did it just all of a sudden just come? Oh yeah, CBDCs, that's going to be the way, because there's the magician. There's the wizard behind the fucking curtain and everything. That's the wicked elite. They have all these countries in their back pocket. They're paying both sides. And in their mind, they're going to win no matter what, because they're keeping to themselves all the resources on the earth. Okay? And they're having all these nations in their pocket, because they link to all these nations. Okay? And if these nations don't want to move to their feet, what do? They crash the society. This is what they're going to do with the whole world. They're going to crash it. Okay, but see, this marks the end of them. When we read it in Job 20, that Job 20, they're about to fill their belly. The Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon them, and shall rain upon them while they're eating. Okay? It says, the rise of central bank digital currencies offer countries a new avenue to conduct international transactions without the U.S. dollar. See, before that, the U.S. dollar was involved in all the transactions. So even if you just took a little off the top, say you just took 2 cents off of every dollar, or 1 cent off of every dollar, say you took 1% of all transactions, so you can see how fucking rich it is. Meaning all transactions done internationally between nations, I get a cut of it. So you can see how great America has become. Okay? But now it's waning, because a new system is coming up. New payment systems, new money, new currency is coming up. But see, that's all a trap. Because if these nations, if they really wanted to go back to the old way, they will say, no, we're doing nothing but gold and silver. But that's not so, okay? It says, China's digital yuan is a prominent example, and other nations are exploring initiatives. Okay, then it goes into, the BRICS nations, and certain things like that. Again, you can read that on your own. It's not a super long read. I'm just going to hit this information. Okay, because we're starting to see the death of U.S. currency, as we know as dollars and cents, and dollars and coins. All right, this is from the Wall Street Journal. I'm just reading the title. It says, Treasury sounds death knell for penny production. Okay, BBC.com. Let me just hit that. Just bear with me. It says, U.S. Treasury confirms the end of the penny. Now, somebody will say, oh, that's not a big deal. The end of the penny. Yeah, it starts with the penny. It started with the smallest piece of money they have, the penny. You can't start any smaller than that, right? They start with the penny. Hey, how you doing? I don't know if she's gonna come over there. Hold on one second. All right, you too, bye. Okay, it's locked. Let me get back to where I'm at. Okay, U.S. Treasury confirms the end of the penny. Okay, this is May 22nd, 2025. So this is this year. Both of those articles are this year, and you can see us that are in the know. Things are rapidly accelerating towards this a new digital system being set up. And in the midst of that, you're going to have multiple other prophecies that are going to coincide or accelerate. All right, this Motb system, the mark of the beast. Okay, 1 cent coins will stop being produced in the U.S. next year. The Treasury Department has confirmed. It marks the phasing out of coins. See, so they're not phasing out all the coins yet, but the penny is the first one to go, and then it's going to be the nickel. Then it's going to be the dime. Then it's going to be a quarter. Then it's going to be, you know what? We're going to just do away with all coin money. All right, you have this amount of time until we stop accepting this as legal tender. And then it's going to be the $1 bill. Then it's like, fuck it. We just going to go to a digital system. It marks phasing out the coins commonly known as pennies, which have been in circulation for more than 2 centuries. So for more than 200 years. President Donald Trump told Treasury Secretary Bessent in February to stop minting the coins, calling them wasteful. See? So they're coming in with, hey, we need to get away, we need to get the waste out of this corporation called America. And in order to make America great again, we have to cut things, okay, in certain programs, as well as certain financial, okay, like coins. What do we need coins for? So we're living in a stone age. Digital currency is going to be the one, and they're going to do it all under the disguise of order out of chaos. Okay, I mean that's pretty much it on that, right? So let me go back to, you know what? We all know the scripture in Revelation, right? Let me go to Habakkuk. We'll close it there. Habakkuk 2. Because we're really approaching that point, okay? Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for a appointed time. That time is now. We're in that time right now. But at the end it shall speak. All right, and it's speaking loud and clear, meaning it's being made manifest. Okay? It says, and not lie. Yeah, we're actually seeing de-dollarization. We're seeing everybody move away from America being the top nation, okay, to, supposedly multiple nations. They call it a multipolar. In this case, America unipolar, unipower, okay? They were the one, right? But now so-called multipolar because we're gonna have multiple different systems. No, it's all gonna lead to one digital system, okay? It says, but at the end it shall speak it not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. So we're seeing the actual manifestation of this prophecy come to pass. And this is a very important prophecy, because if you take it according to Revelation 14, I think you can start at 8, but I believe the point is at 9. If you start, or 8 or 9, if you take that C-hip, that mark of the beast, okay, which is this man's current digital technology, the chip, if you take it, you're going to be destroyed. All right, so hey, it's going to surely come. So hey, I pray that the lesson was edifying. Until next time, shalom to the elect.